The mysterious disappearance of Angela Hammond. 20-year-old Angela Hammond was 4 months pregnant and engaged. On the night of April 4, 1991, Angela stopped to use a payphone. At 11:45 p.m. Angela called up her fiancé, Rob, and let him know she wasn't going to meet up with him as she was tired. As they were talking, she noticed a truck driving around the empty parking lot and felt unsettled by it. She told Rob this, and Rob stayed on the phone with her, until to his horror, he suddenly heard Angela scream, and the phone went dead. No one would ever see or hear from Angela again. So who was Angela Hammond? Angela Hammond was born in Kansas City, Missouri on February 9, 1971. Her parents Chris and Marcia soon decided to move the 80 miles south to Clinton, Missouri, to be closer to Marcia's parents. Shortly after moving to Clinton, they would have a little boy, making Angela a big sister. Angela was also very driven, and everyone that knew her knew she was destined for great things. When she was 19, she started dating 18-year-old Rob Schaefer. Rob was a football star at the same school Angela had attended, and the two of them were the perfect couple. Both popular, both smart, funny and very likable, the two got along great. So in January of 1991, when Angela found out she was pregnant, Rob quickly popped the question and Angela said yes. Angela attended Central Missouri State University during the day and worked evenings at a bank as a processor. They rented a home together, and while money was really tight, they were working hard to get themselves situated and ready for the baby. On April 4, 1991, Angela and Rob went to a barbecue at the home of Angela's mother Marcia. Around 9 p.m. that evening, Rob left the barbecue to head over to his parents' house for the evening, where he had to babysit his little brother. Angela went and picked up her best friend, and the two drove around and just hung out. At 11:15 p.m., Angela dropped her friend off at home and went to a payphone to call Rob. Angela and Rob didn't have a home phone at that time, so the nearby payphone was Angela's only option. Angela was supposed to go over to Rob's parents' house that night, but she was feeling so tired, she just wanted to go home and go to bed. That was her reason for calling Rob that night. Rob, of course, said that was fine, and they chatted for a bit on the phone. While on the phone, a truck pulled into the empty parking lot and was driving around. Angela told Rob about this truck, and as she was describing it to Rob, the truck pulled out of the lot and drove away. They talked about how weird that was, but didn't really think anything of it. Until a few moments later, the truck returned, this time parking in a parking spot. Soon, a man got out of the truck and went to a phone booth next to the one Angela was in. Again, Angela mentioned this to Rob, but in 1991, everyone used payphones, so it wasn't too alarming. After a brief minute, the man returned to his truck, got a flashlight and seemed to be looking for something. Angela was starting to feel unsettled by all this and said so to Rob. Rob said maybe the phone he had tried to use wasn't working and he was waiting for Angela to finish up so he could use the phone she was on. Rob heard Angela lean out of the phone booth and asked this man if he needed to use the phone, and he answered her and said no. Both Angela and Rob started to feel uneasy, so Angela started to describe the man to Rob. She said he was a white man, wearing overalls and a baseball hat. She said he had a beard and he also appeared very dirty. She had also described the truck to Rob. Suddenly, Rob heard a blood-curdling scream and realized it was Angela. He then heard the man say, "I didn't need to use the phone anyway." The phone went dead, and Rob ran out of his house, into his car and drove over to where this payphone was, which was only a few minutes from his parents' house. On the way there, he saw a truck coming towards him that fit the description that Angela had given him. He saw a man driving and noticed a woman in the passenger seat, leaning over the driver and screaming. As he passed, he heard Angela screaming, "Robbie, Robbie," trying to get his attention. Rob quickly pulled a U-turn and started chasing the truck. He chased the truck for a couple miles, and when the truck pulled down a side road, Rob attempted to follow, but his vehicle then died. He could only watch the truck drive away. In a panic, he jumped out of the car and attempted to run after the truck, but of course, that isn't going to work. So he then turned around to head back into town and get help. He flagged down a passing car, and they drove Rob directly to the police station. Now, the town of Clinton, Missouri is a quiet, small town. The police weren't quite sure what to think of this story from this young man at midnight. They took his statement, however, and did launch a full search for this truck and this man. They also worked on drawing up a composite sketch, but I took a look at the sketch and it looks like nothing Rob had described. Rob described a white man, with a baseball hat, beard and mustache, and eyeglasses. When asked about this, the police stated they thought the man could have been wearing a fake beard and mustache, but they didn't release any additional composites either. He also described the truck, an older model, 1960s or 1970s green Ford, with some rust and a decal of a fish jumping out of water on the back window. He also noticed 2 letters on the license plate, an X and a Y, but the rest of the license plate had been rusty and he wasn't able to get any additional information. Well, anyways, the search continues for Angela, and Rob himself starts to be a target of the investigation. He does take and pass a polygraph, but police find his story very unusual. The Clinton police did go notify Angela's parents, and in doing so, they began to ask questions about Rob. However, both Angela's mom and dad insisted that Rob adored Angela and didn't believe for a second that he could have been involved in something like this. Eventually, Rob is cleared of any involvement. His vehicle was found abandoned and broken down right where he said it was. They also found Angela's car in the parking lot near the payphone, her purse still inside. Witnesses also began to come forward saying that they also saw this green truck and a woman screaming from inside. Upon investigation, rumors start to swirl that Angela's ex-boyfriend, Bill Barker, was possibly involved. However, both Bill and Rob adamantly deny this. Bill also complied and took a polygraph, and he passed. The Missouri State Police tried to locate the green Ford truck, and found over 1,500 possibile vehicles listed in their database. Police began to wonder if there was a link between 2 other abductions in Missouri. In January 1991, Trudy Darby was working in a convenience store in Max Creek, Missouri, when she vanished. However, Trudy's body was found in a nearby river. Police would wonder if they were connected, but no evidence would ever be found. In fact, despite leads that would come in here and there, they would have no clues as to Angela's whereabouts or what happened to her that night.